Hi everyone, let's play a game. Have you played this before? Yup, it's called Tetris. Now, let us change the method on how it's played. Imagine that it's played among our Mother Nature and the carbon dioxide. This different shift of blocks can be seen as carbon dioxide. Now, what happened when we can't remove the blocks in time? Well, it's game over for our Mother Earth. In this case, all the living beings in our Mother Earth will face its final demise, the great extinction in the global scale. Do it sound good? Absolutely not from me. So that's why we are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marcus and I'm from NCKU Tainan. We are here today to show you our solution, of course. In this era, there's so much problem caused by human activities. Yes, human activities. This is a sad truth. Due to human activities, the most significant problems caused by human civilization is carbon emission. Carbon emission has been a huge problem since the dawn of Industrial Revolution. This is horrific. This is awful. Now look at this graph here. In just a few decades, the carbon emission has totally out of control. Well, some would say, never mind, it's okay, we still have time. But, do you know who won the Nobel Prize on Economics in this year? Yes, William D. Nordhaus. And he proposed that climate change is one of the greatest impacts that affect the global economics. This hotly discussed issue will be long for certain time to go. We can build artificial trees to scrub CO2. But this needs to be feasible by understanding its economical, safetiness, and social impact. None of these are perfect, but most are potential. So the main method is CCS and CCU, carbon capture storage and carbon capture utilization. CCS is a method whereby carbon dioxide is captured and transferred to a long-term storage, while CCU is capturing carbon dioxide and converting them into byproducts. Utilization is the key of the carbon capture because it can counterbalance the financial burden of the project. But CO2 is hard to be used. So this year, NCKU Tainan decided to focus on this issue by harnessing synthetic biology through engineering E. coli. To establish our main goal, we engineered our E. coli with its non-native carbon fixation pathway and incorporate it with a device and IoT system for culturing and monitoring. Interesting, is it?
Of course.
Hello, Hui.
Hi, David.
Since Marcus just mentioned our project and it sounds really interesting, can you talk more about our E. coli?
Okay. Normally, E. coli can fix carbon, so we engineered the E. coli to use two main enzymes that involve in Kelvin-Benson cycle, which are PRK and rubisco, to fix carbon with the help of xylose. Let's start with our first enzyme, PRK. PRK stands for phosphorybalokinase. It is responsible for converting RU5P into RUBP, a main substrate needed for carbon fixation. RU5P can be produced through the pentose phosphate pathway of E. coli when it consumes xylose. That's why we use xylose as a carbon source in the culture medium.
Let's move on to the next enzyme, rubisco. Rubisco consists of three subunits: a large subunit, RBCl, a small subunit, RBCs, and a chaperone protein, RBCX. Rubisco can carboxylate RUBP into two molecules of 3-PGA. The 3-PGA will be then converted into pyruvate, which is a vital metabolite for E. coli. After expressing these two enzymes, we successfully built a carbon-fixing E. coli.
Wait a minute, David. You forget about the third enzyme. We had added Ca into the construct to improve the efficiency of the whole pathway. Ca stands for carbonic anhydrase. It is an enzyme that catalyzes the interconversion between bicarbonate ions and carbon dioxide, which can be used to facilitate the diffusion of carbon dioxide through the membrane. We can thus enhance the input of carbon dioxide into the pathway. Finally, we clone all these three parts into a high copy number plasmid PSB1C3 and a low copy number plasmid PSB3K3 respectively.
So how do we ensure the function of these enzymes?
Well, after finishing the construct, the protein expression is ensured by using SDS page. Then, we also ran the PRK toxicity test to prove that PRK is functional. So, what is PRK toxicity test? Since native E. coli cannot metabolize RUBP, the bacteria will then be deprived of carbon source. By comparing the growth of E. coli in N9 medium that contains either xylose or glucose, we indirectly demonstrated that PRK is functional due to the retarded growth of PRK expressing E. coli in xylose medium. At the same time, we realized that this is a serious problem because we want our E. coli to grow. However, we are able to solve this problem by cloning PRK into a low copy number plasmid PSB3K3. As you can see, the growth of E. coli was restored when PRK was expressed in PSB3K3. So, all the enzymes were expressed now. But how do we know the engineered E. coli can fix carbon?
Well, as mentioned before, we incubated our bacteria in an altered N9 medium with xylose as its sole carbon source. Our team has come up with a way to measure the amount of carbon fixation without using radioisotope. Before reviewing the final results of our construct, I will first explain the xylose utilization index. The definition of this index is xylose consumption over ODIC 600, namely xylose consumption over biomass. The less the index, the higher capacity for our bacteria to fix carbon.
Oh, I know what you mean. You mean wild-type E. coli can only consume xylose as its sole carbon source, while our engineered E. coli can utilize carbon dioxide as an alternative carbon source in addition to xylose. So, it requires less amount of xylose while growing up to achieve the same amount of biomass. Am I right?
Exactly. To increase 1 unit of biomass, the engineered strain can consume less xylose than the wild-type strain, so the engineered strain will have a lower XUI. Also, our team has modeled the carbon fixation pathway of the bacteria, and we found out that the strain that contains all three enzymes has the highest capacity to fix carbon. And here is our experimental results.
Really? Let me have a look. There's a great difference between the XUI value of the wild-type strain and the engineered strain. We can see that the XUI value of the engineered strain is lower than the wild-type. Also, by adding Ca into the construct, we can see that the XUI values is even lower. We can now conclude that our experiment results match with the prediction of our model. It's quite impressive that our E. coli can fix carbon. But David, I think it will be more interesting if we can know how much carbon is fixed.
Actually, we can estimate the amount of carbon fixation by mass balance concept. In our experiment, xylose and carbon dioxide are the only two carbon sources for the bacteria. After consumption, there are three possible outflow paths for carbon, which are carbon dioxide emission, biomass, and other metabolic waste. Thus, we can calculate the net carbon input and the minimum of carbon fixed.
Based on our experiment result, we calculated that 1 liter of the engineered E. coli can fix about 0.57 milligram of carbon dioxide per hour. Also, about 9% of the carbon in the biomass comes from carbon dioxide. Now, we already have an E. coli that are capable to fix carbon, but how are we going to use it?
In order to optimize our construct and apply it to industrial settings, our team has come up with a device and applied design. For the next part, I would like to invite Thomas and Judy to talk about it. Here you go, Thomas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Judy.
As David has mentioned, we have designed a device that is able to culturing our E. coli utilizing carbon dioxide and can be applied in real industrial environment. Before culturing the E. coli in the device, we found out that there's a very important consideration, is the pH value of the environment. Since we also needed to satisfy the requirement of by-brick improvement, we construct a pH sensing E. coli, which will show green fluorescence when pH value change. So, Judy, can you describe how this pH sensing system works?
Of course, our pH sensing system contains pH sensitive promoter, ASR, and GADA. After the induction, the downstream reporter GFP will be produced to report the pH condition of the surrounding. We first use ASR promoter, which will be turned on as the pH value that is detrimental to E. coli growth. This data here shows that the promoter has the highest activity at pH above 4.25. How about another promoter? Thomas, can you make a brief introduction for us?
Okay, the next promoter we choose is the GADA promoter, which has been discovered by 2016 Dundee team. We identify the promoter again and reveal that the promoter has a high expression at pH 7. We were not satisfied by the result, so we decided to improve this by-brick by adding a RiboJ sequence from 2016 William and Mary team. Our new data indicate that with the RiboJ sequence, the intensity of GFP was much higher comparing to the construction without RiboJ. And next, we have successfully built up the prototype of our device. The following demonstration is now going on. And this is the rotameter to control the carbon dioxide concentration. And the green membrane is to prevent the leakage of bacteria. Inside the bioreactor, there are also diffusers to increase the contact surface of the gas input. There are also thermometer and pH meter in the bioreactor. The tank on the top is a medium preparation tank, and the tank under the medium preparation tank is a clean-up tank for downstream product purification.
After finishing the design of our prototype, it's time to think about a challenge that will be faced in a real industrial setting. Here, we take a small factory as an example. This factory will emit 20,000 tons of carbon dioxide every year. It has an IGCC system to help it capture carbon dioxide. When the gas went out from IGCC power plant, the concentration is 30%. So we build a carbon dioxide control valve. We pump the air in and mix with the gas to adjust the concentration to 5%. In addition, we use diffuser in the inlet of bioreactor to increase contact surface of carbon dioxide. Finally, the gas will go through into our bioreactor. But the area required is a problem for the factory. So Thomas, do you have any idea?
Well, considering the carbon fixation rate of our E. coli is 0.5 milligram per liter per hour, and the emission rate of the factory after calculation is about 2,300 kilogram per hour. And to utilize 50% of this emission, we need 2.3 billion liters of our E. coli. Comparing to a green energy system, which has a fixation rate of 10.4 milligram per liter per hour and require 110 million liters to fix the same amount of carbon dioxide. It seems that the volume of our device is pretty huge, right? But actually, the green agriculture requires light. So, the green agriculture pump should not be over 0.5 meters in height. But our device will not be restricted by light and can be stacked up in several layers. After our calculation, we can save 10 to 30% of the area required.
But here comes another problem, Thomas. After stacking several of our devices in a smaller area, the battery may be lack of human resource to monitor the bioreactor.
Yes, it's really a problem, Judy. We must make our device more easier to be monitored. So, do you have any idea?
Don't worry about that. We have found a solution. In order to make our device more user-friendly, we send the data to our database by cloud and receive the data from an app we have created. The user can click on which data he wants to see. It will show a line chart.
So this is the complete design of our device. We use a prototype to stimulate a true industrial environment, and we turn out a system that is space-saving and can be also easily monitored by an app. But how our project impact this world and make it better? How the world affect our project? For more industrial consideration and social engagement, we would like to introduce our teammates Queenie and Jenny.
How we strive and make work better with our project. Let me introduce the concentric circle to illustrate. Tainan NCKU was a starting point. Then we went beyond the lab to go visit relevant industry.
China Steel Corporation is the largest steel maker in Taiwan and also one of our potential clients We propose the whole flowchart of our design is equalized carbon utilization system to them.
The main concern of them was equalized adaptability. Besides, in the industrial viewpoint, we lack a valuable product that can be converted by captured carbon dioxide.
Therefore, we came up with a downstream process. Besides, via integrated other pathway in equalized, we can produce less potential product. But Queenie, which product would be more suitable for us?
At this point, we seek a chance to have a conversation with Industrial Technology Research Institute, which is the most advanced research and development institute in Taiwan. They emphasize that the medicinal and health products for humans are harder to get approval.
As a result, we plan to design a final product that can be utilized in the livestock, and the rest of the waste can be converted into the biofuel. Each is currently developing its own carbon utilization technology, and we earn their high praise for also working on this advanced technology.
Last but not least, we also plan to cooperate with a key membrane energy company. Through their wastewater recycle system, we can recycle over 16% of the water in our spent medium. In addition, E. coli can be separated, and the final product can then be extracted.
So, after the hard work, we successfully completed an applicable E. coli carbon utilization system, right?
Of course, after the interview with our relevant enterprise, we move on to visiting professors in all kinds of specialties. Besides, through meetup with other engineers, we seek a chance to cooperate with other teams to complete the whole eco-friendly system.
Science and daily life cannot and should not be separated. What we do and learn in the lab must be delivered to the society. Therefore, through the seminars, designing apps and games, and held a workshop to showcase the synthetic biology to the public.
That's all for our human practice. This concentric circle is the way we avail the general public from NCKU Tainan to the society.
So now, let's review our projects. Carbon dioxide is currently being produced and emitted by many factories. We mentioned that those carbon dioxide can be captured and enter our system. By monitoring three data, carbon dioxide concentration, pH value, and temperature, we can determine the progress of our system. And no matter where you are, you can check on the condition with the app we have designed.
Our project was built step by step. In the very beginning, the pH-sensitive promoter was a single proof of concept. Gradually, we construct three functional parts, allowing E. coli to utilize carbon dioxide.
Through the feedback of all human practice activity, we confirm that our project is applicable in industrial setting.
And we successfully demonstrate that our engineered E. coli can be cultured in the real-life situation.
Furthermore, by fitting experience data with our modeling, we were able to optimize our carbon dioxide utilization efficiency.
And we also improve upon a previous BioBrick on pH alert system. By holding the enterprise supporting, we finally fulfill the whole product design.
Global warming, sea level rising, and ocean acidification, and many climate change will exacerbate by 2030. Just like again, tantrics, the problem due to excess carbon dioxide will block the area in the gap. The time to deal with carbon dioxide is limited. There are a large amount of carbon dioxide being captured and waiting for solution. So, with a fully developed carbon utilization technology, we were able to reduce the balance of carbon cycle with our Mother Earth. All of us are the player in the battle against carbon dioxide. Will we win?
Of course!
Will the final triumph belong to us?
Of course!
Will you join us?
Of course!
One step closer to a low carbon society. We are NCKU Tainan.
Thank you.